Merry Christmas, guys, and happy holidays. I hope you've had an amazing time this festive season. So, today is the last day of 2022, and I wanted to share 7 questions that I think are important for each one of us to ask themselves. Just to take stock of what 2022 has been. We could ask ourselves what is the best thing that ever happened to us, or what's the worst thing. But these 7 questions, I feel like they are more detailed, right? So in asking ourselves these questions, it's gonna illuminate or like shed some light on some of the areas in our lives that we need to work on, and the things in our lives that we really enjoyed this year, right? So, question number 1. What is the challenge that you've overcome this year? Oh, so I'm going to be vulnerable and share my experiences, and and then probably kind of show you how you're supposed to go about yours. So the challenge I overcame this year was being single. I really struggled with that. I was just like, I felt like I've been in a period in my life. I'm like, I've been single for so long, now I want a relationship, and I really fought with that. But I think I worked around that, and it is no longer a challenge. I'm getting content in this space that I am, even as I wait for another one. So I am not dreading this space that I am. All right, question number 2. So the challenge doesn't have to necessarily be like one. You could have like multiple, right? So I just decided to share one with you. So question number 2, what's a surprise that you dealt with this year? Where? So this year, somebody broke into my house and stole my laptop. That was shocking more than hurting. As in, it was just, I had never dealt with something like that. So I was just, like, every single time I think back to that, I'm just shocked. I am shaken. The thought that, somebody can get into your space. Well, I never used to lock my windows. I just used to, when I open them, I just return them without locking it. So I never thought in a million years that somebody can go through the windows, or come in through the windows. As a normal hard-working citizen, you don't think like a thief. You just think, the window is there for ventilation. A thief looks at the window and thinks, aha, opportunity. So how I dealt with it, I now close my windows. Yeah. That for me was the surprise I dealt with. Question number 3, what is something you bought this year? So I really love this question because most people tend to downplay expenditure. Saving is good, saving is great. I'm all about saving, right? But we normally so hard on ourselves when we spend money. But sometimes this money that we're looking for can do things for us that, make us feel good, or they can be used to bless people. So we shouldn't frown on expenditure. So in this question, you get to delve into what are these things that you actually spent money on, and you're actually happy. What did you buy yourself? So for me, my love language is gifting, right? I love giving gifts. So this year, I have been privileged enough to be able to gift my family members, my friends, those who are closest around me, and it has really made me happy. I just feel good. Like every single time I give somebody a gift, it's like I feel way better than, even more than how the other person is gonna feel. So I have been really privileged to be able to share or gift my loved ones, those who are closest to me this year. And of course that I spent on that, and I'd like to look at it as something that made me happy, because one of the mantras I live by is you have to make a difference in somebody's life. And buying somebody a gift, I tend to think of it as going an extra mile for somebody, thinking kindly because of someone else, and getting to do that, yeah, I'm happy with myself. I think I made the world a better place, and that makes me sleep at night. So yeah. Question number 4. Who? What's the best book stroke podcast you have read or had? So I had 3 that topped my list, and I'm gonna share all 3 with you because I suppose that it's important and everybody could use this nuggets, right? So the first one, the best book, okay, not best, but like, yeah, the one book that really stuck with me, it's it's called Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert. So my friend Clara has been posting a series of books that she's read, and she highly recommended this one, so I got myself and I read it. And the one thing that actually stood out for me, this book is basically about creatives and how to go about your creativity, right? So in this book, the one thing that stood out for me was how you relate with your creativity, what you expect from it. So she was of the idea that creativity already feeds you, already fulfills you in a way, right? Sometimes for some people, it can get to a point where you actually want to commercialize on your creativity, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we kind of put expectations and pressure on our creativity, in that if it doesn't yield into financial breakthrough or providence, then we do not want to partake of it anymore. So in this book, she just breaks it down, like you participating in your creativity. Let's say you draw or you sing or you dance or you write. In you doing that act alone, it fills you up. You feel satisfied. Like it's already fulfilling for you. The thing that people talk about passion, do it because of your passion. Do it because when you sit down, you just feel the nudge and the urge to actually do this thing. So she gives an example of this. There's an author who went to a certain town. He was having his book tour, and then so there's this thing. He was seated on a panel, and people get to ask him questions. So one man asked him, "We are of the same age with you." Now he's telling the author, "We are of the same age with you. We write the same way, the same style, the same genre, and I even come from the same town like as you. So help me understand where my writing has never yielded into anything. I should be seated where you're seated. Why is it that we are writing the same way and you get to have a breakthrough and I don't? And please don't tell me to persevere, because I'm sick and tired of you telling me to do that." And then the author goes, "I'm not going to tell you to persevere. I'm going to tell you to quit. Because clearly writing is not giving you joy. It's making you sad and frustrated. It's bringing out emotions that shouldn't be evoked in the first place. So, and I don't think you should partake of it. Go and find another hobby. Go travel. Go discover something else about yourself. Like completely let go writing. Don't do it because it's not giving you joy." And then he paused, and everybody in the audience was like, "Oh my goodness, that is so heartbreaking. That's not even encouraging. We did not expect you to say that." But he left like a dramatic pause, and he got back and said, "But if after trying out other things and you find out that they are not fulfilling, then you have no other option but to go back to writing and persevere." And for me, that's the one thing I took at home. Like, passion is everything, especially in creativity. Even if you get to a place where it actually starts paying the bills and brings you income and even financial breakthrough, you always have to separate the creativity part of it from the commercial part of it, because creativity is not fueled by money or by financial gain. It's a whole thing by itself. It emanates from somewhere deep. You have to be one with yourself. So it's not that the more you have money, the more creative that you will be. So we need to get to a space where you appreciate your creativity in that it feeds you even as you're partaking of it. I hope that makes sense. Number 2, this will have to be Oprah Winfrey. There's something she said. I think I was listening to one of her. She has a podcast, but I think I had this from her YouTube videos. So she was saying, at night when you lay down in your bed and you think through all the things that the day has shown you, whether it be work or just the motions of life, you should take in a very deep breath, inhale, exhale, and say the most important prayer that you could ever say. And then she pauses, and in my head I'm just thinking to myself, what is this most important prayer that you'll ever make? And she says, thank you. You thank God for all of it. You thank God for the highs, for the lows, for what you got, for what you did not get, for the lessons, for the wins. And I was just like, yeah, if I could sum up a prayer to just carry me through, like if I was to say the most important prayer, I think, yeah, thank you really does it. Thank you really does it. And for me, it was just like, yeah, thank you. Thank you for all of it. For what I know, for what I don't know, for what I saw, for what I didn't see. Yeah, that tops it. And then the third one, this will have to be Jay Shetty. Jay Shetty has a podcast, On Purpose. So I came across it and I listened to something he said. It was about love, and how as human beings the most natural and default setting of ours is wanting love from people, whether we know them or not. Like, it's like the human form yearns for love, right? Even from animals, it's like we just by default want to be loved all the time. So he's like, instead of just sitting down and expecting love to come find you, how about you share love? How about you share it with the world? Yeah, because in doing that, it kind of fulfills you. So this is what he meant. He said, in respect, this is how I got it, right? If you want somebody to compliment you, compliment them in return. If you want somebody to call and check up on you, you do that for somebody else. If you want somebody to pray for you, you pray for somebody else. Like, share love instead of just sitting down and waiting for love to actually happen to you. Like, go out there and do what you'd love for somebody else to do for you. And I started practicing it, and it has been calming. I don't understand the logic of how it works, in that you want something, but then again you go start and do it. So I just started practicing it. I stopped sitting down and waiting on somebody to come and love me. I started loving the people around me the best way I knew how to. So if I wanted somebody to do something for me, I just find somebody else and do it for them. And I don't even know what to call this feeling, but it has been really calming and fulfilling, and surprisingly, you stop yearning and you just get satisfied. You get satisfied with the small acts of love that you share with people. Yeah, and you get replenished. You'd think that you'd run out of love, but you don't. It's like it's a very, very deep well that you keep drawing from, and it's never replenished. It's never empty. Like, there's always something to draw out from. Yeah. So those 3 nuggets. Do not put pressure on your creativity. Participating in your creativity is already reward enough. The most important prayer is thank you, God. Thank you for everything that He has been able to do for you. What you see, what you do not see. And yeah, share love instead of waiting for it. Question number 5. What are your blind spots for next year? This is very important because it makes you prepared for what it is that you don't see. So probably you have plans for next year, but it's good to just sit down and think, what am I really, you know, what am I really walking into next year? So for me personally, I have some goals I have set, and for those goals I need to really work on myself career wise. Yeah, so for me those are the blind spots that I need to put in check. Maybe, for example, you have a certain project that you can't wait to start next year. You should sit down with yourself and be like, so this project, what does it really entail? Especially if it's something that you've never delved into, so you don't know the pros and cons. It's nice to just think through it, so that even when the challenges come, you're kind of ready, instead of just, hey, new year, and then you walk into it, right? So yeah. Question number 6, what made you the happiest this year? Oh, I have 2. Yeah, no, actually 3. I'll share them. Number 1, traveling. Oh my goodness. I think this should be in everybody's list. If you can, travel as much as you can. There's so much of the world to see. It's so exciting. Like, and yes, you have to have like a budget for it, of course, but it's really fulfilling. It's so fulfilling when you step outside your circle and realize, oh my goodness, there's like a whole other world out there. So yeah, traveling. Number 2, dancing. This year I really danced on stage, something that I never foresaw. It has been a really good experience. I'm so grateful for that. Yeah. And number 3, I'd say fitness. I think this year I've been the most fit. Yeah, I've been really consistent, whether it's dieting, whether it's working out. So yeah, those 3 things really made me happy. Number 7, who's the person you couldn't have gotten through this year without? Now, again, with all of these questions, they don't have to have like one answer, right? They could be several. It's just a matter of engaging and just sitting down and being like, oh wow, I really didn't see it like this, you know? So for me, I have a couple of people. I'll see whether I'll fit in 5. So number 1 is my friend Mburu. She has been there. Yeah, that's what I'll say. She has been there through it all. I don't think there's an aspect, or there's a phase in this year I went through that she wasn't there, whether to encourage me, whether to comfort me, whether to just pick me up because I was in a rut. And for that I'm really grateful. Number 2, we have another friend of mine called Temoi. Yeah, that one was heaven sent. She really filled my cup, and yeah, she did. And number 3, we have Goreti. We've had some it's really beautiful having somebody who wants to listen to you. Like with Goreti, she's been the one person who has really listened to every nitty-gritty of mine and telling me as it is. So whether it be like a phone call or a hearty conversation, like she's been there to listen to what it is that I have to say. And after every conversation, I just feel psyched up. I just feel like, Ma, I can do this. Like, yeah, I'm ready, and I'm really grateful for that. Number 4 will have to be, I'm gonna generalize this one. So it will have to be my church, the people I've met in my church who have become friends. And my church is ICC Nairobi, and yeah, this year has been something else. If it was not for me having those people, I really don't know how this year would have turned out. But ICC has really been a blessing. Just from the pastors to the people who work there to my friends, it has been really warm, and I am grateful that I found that space. To my fellow dancers for including me. There's Seth, there's Jonah, there's Rachel. You people have been amazing, and I'm really grateful that we crossed paths. And last but not least, I will have to say every single person I brushed shoulders with. This is the 1 year that I have met a lot of strangers. I have made connections. I believe that every single person that you meet with is not by coincidence. It's God ordained. So they might say something in passing. They might just share a joke with you, lighten a moment. And yeah, I am grateful for every single person I met. It might have turned into something else, a deeper connection or not. But yeah, it has not been in vain. It has, even if all we did was just have a conversation. Yeah, I believe that geared me into the person that I am right now. And yeah, it geared maybe my thinking. Maybe we shared a moment or a joke or just something that lightened me up. Even for the people who, we brush shoulders but not like in a good way. Yeah, I kind of believe that has its own purpose. So yeah, so that is me. So I'm gonna write these questions down below so that you check them out and participate in this, because I think it has been really beautiful just getting to see the details that come out of these questions. Yeah, and happy new year.